If your pipeline feels sluggish, you're not alone. We're digging into the two usual suspects behind stalled revenue, lead generation and sales execution. Our goal today is to help building service contractors reboot their pipeline with practical systems, not hype. And to do this, I'm joined by regular guest Jeff Carmon, a coach and consultant with Elite BSC. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jeff. Always good chatting with you.
I think you're all warmed up. Didn't you just have an event with a bunch of
We
people?
we did. We had our first ever Elite BSC leadership conference, and we had around 150 people came to Louisville, Kentucky. Had a great crowd, and it was a good event.
I imagine some of what you talked about will be part of today's discussion, but we think about this clogged pipeline. I don't think that's
Mhm.
very lucrative. A clogged.
Uh, no, it is not lucrative at all. That's right. That's
Well,
right.
we'll start with this, Jeff. Talk about how often BSCs gets impacted by this clog.
I think it happens to all of us. I think it comes in waves. Sometimes it's everything's flowing pretty well, and other times it gets clogged. I would tell you, I think that there's three things, and we'll call them the three P's that tend to get a pipeline clogged. And the first one would be priority. It's just that in order to keep a pipeline moving, that it has to be a priority in the organization. And many times we're putting out fires, we're starting new clients. It's those kinds of things. So the first P would be priority. The second would be process. Is do I have a good process for getting prospects in the pipeline and moving them into a deal pipeline, and then on down to where they cross over and become a customer. And the last P would be pricing. I think that's something we always have to keep in mind. We're in a very competitive business. There's a lot of BSCs out there. And so pricing can become an issue as well. So those are typically the three things that can clog a pipeline up.
Now, when it comes to going to clients, trying to land jobs, that's got to be valuable. That FaceTime, you're trying to make
Mhm.
that deal. But talk about this. Where do most BSC deals die? Because that happens. And how do you investigate that and figure out the issue?
Yeah, and let me back up and say, I think when we think about, there's two pipelines that I tend to think about. There's a pipeline of just that is just, how are your prospects moving through, and then till you get down to the deal pipeline. And I think that's what we're talking about here. That's that time that we go out and we provide a proposal, we do a facility tour, facility walkthrough, and submit that proposal, and then it gets clogged up. And the question is where does it die? And I think it probably I think it probably dies in I don't it's hard to say. It probably dies when the customer is trying to look at all their options and they get into a situation where the price doesn't fit what they're trying to do in terms of budget. And so there's some other factors, but at least my experience has been when it gets down to the pricing, I think that's where a lot of deals will tend to fade away.
Oh, that makes sense, and it's sad to think that that's the driver. I always think when I'm on that expensive jet, it was the lowest bidder who made the bolts to hold the wings on.
Right,
You
that's
know?
right. That's right. But it's certainly a part of it. I think there
Mhm.
there can be some there be some other factors that play in there, but I've said before I kind of a joke whenever I provide a proposal and I'm having that discussion that a person's usually flipping through it until they see our price. So that's
Yeah.
where I see a lot of deals die. Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
This is something we've talked about before. It's the ideal customer profile. So dig into that a bit. How important is it to focus on that when choosing the marketing material, the messaging, the sales methods you're going to use to land those deals?
Yeah, I talk about a lot about there's two kind of foundations that your business growth process, your business growth strategy is built off of, and that is your ideal customer profile and then your messaging. So this ideal customer profile is something that we all really need in this business, really all need to dig into, and not just lightly dig into it. We need to really dig into it. So for instance, I like to think about where from a geography standpoint do we want to serve? And that could be all 50 United States and Canada, or it could be these counties in Kentucky and Indiana. But whatever the case might be, that needs to be defined really well because that that will lead you to the kinds of customers where they need to be. The second would be the kinds of segments that we want to participate in. And when I say segments, I mean verticals. And so, for instance, do we want to pursue all verticals or do we want to niche down on three or four? And then I think there's a size issue. Like, how do we want to serve customers with 1 day a week service or only 5 days a week? And so all of those things go into what that ideal customer profile is. And then once we know that, then everybody on our team can get really focused on pursuing those kinds of customers and talking the language that they talk.
So my next point is about those watching, Jeff. They're like, I want to make change now. I want to take some advice and make it happen now so things do shift in their way.
Mhm.
So talk about this, the marketing changes or the shifts that those watching, it would move their needle the fastest. Anything that comes to mind that you would say, here's what you need to do right now.
Yeah, I think there's a few things, and some of this depends on the kind of market you're in. And so we're all familiar with inbound strategies and outbound strategies. If you're working in a big metro area where there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of noise, you probably need to dig into some some inbound strategies to get some prospects noticing you and approaching. I like to think in a fish analogy, try to get the fish to swim to the boat. If you're in more of a rural setting or not as large a market, you can really do a lot of things with outbound marketing. And so when I say that, I mean, have someone with a very good prospect list. And so that's part of it to move the needle, get a good prospect list and put a good call or email sequence in place to make initial contact with those folks. It's just like anything. It's like if you're going out on a date with somebody, you have to ask. You have to find out where they are in terms of their willingness to move forward. And we need to find the same thing out from our customers. And so I would say moving the needle is start making telephone calls and emails to a very well-defined prospect list based on that ideal customer profile.
No shotgun approach here then. Target it.
Nope.
Mhm.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
So I want to talk about just one more question, then we'll get your closing thoughts.
Mhm.
When you're talking to potential clients, I think in any sales arrangement, you hear the words, "Let me think about it."
Mhm. Yeah.
It could be the words of doom, but
Mhm.
how do you think those watching could turn those words, that attitude, from away from a dead end, so it's an opportunity?
Yeah, and we get that a lot. And I think what we have to understand is let me think about it is it could be code for I'm not the person who's actually responsible for making a decision. And so that might be something that might be part of it is can we ask, hey, can I give you some more information that might help you in making your decision, or do we need to draw somebody else into the conversation? I'm always a little cautious with that because I don't want to make that person feel like I'm going over their head. The other reason it might be that we're still thinking about it is they never really intended to make any decision or to do anything. They were just gathering bids, and that's tough. The last thing is really we need to take them at those words and say they really are thinking about it, and we need to, all of us in the BSC industry need to say in our minds, we don't need to ask, we need to say, what other information could I give this person to help them make the right decision? And maybe, hopefully, that's going to be our company, but in some cases it's not. But it's still the right thing to do is to say, let me give you some more information to maybe clarify or to make this picture a little bit clearer so you can make a good decision.
So really, you're saying we need to be that company. What else can I do to help you to arrive at that decision?
It's the start selling, start serving, quit selling. I say that over and over again, but that's the real,
Yeah.
I mean, that's for real. That's what we all should be striving to do.
Yeah. Good advice, Jeff. All right, we're about out of time. Any final words of advice that you'd like to wrap up with?
I think, I talked about those three things, priority, process, and pricing. I think always look at those. If priority is the issue, then maybe we need to add a person onto our staff, but whatever the case might be, in order to grow your company, to keep this thing unclogged, you need to just continually look at those things and tweak those things as needed.